It always comes to this. More nice shit. Hey guys, back again to do another tattoo progress update today. Where I last left off, I had showed off the session I had with Rick here on this little stretch. Took roughly 2.5 hours, believe it or not. Sometimes it's pretty wacky for me to consider that like the amount of time spent with Rick versus the amount of time spent with Terry, you get a drastically different amount of work done. And if I'm putting them side by side, it's almost silly sometimes, but it is what it is. I like Rick's work, and it's super complicated, detailed stuff. So, of course, you move a little slower. I'm willing to put in the work for it. It's mostly peeled now. Some of the black isn't peeled, but most of the color is peeled, and so I actually made this video already this morning, so I'm gonna try and rechart some of the same plot points here. I came down to the shop specifically this morning before we opened to make a video to edit today, and for whatever reason, all of my movies I made today got corrupted, and it was very, very frustrating. My prior vlog, which I also edited today, lost about 6.5 minutes. So that would have been the last vlog. People who have watched that one, I put a note in the description about it, but I'm sure I probably got some comments about the rather abrupt end, but it's simply impossible to do anything about it from where I am now. And sometimes being a content creator really sucks. It's a lot of work and not necessarily a lot of return for your effort. My YouTube channel is monetized. Obviously, I've been monetized for years, but it's not like a huge chunk of income. So it is more of a passion project or a personal diary. And at times, I really struggle to find a place for this stuff in my life, being a full-time parent and married and a manager of a shop, which has its own headaches and its own responsibilities. And then obviously trying to have my own personal life, balancing this with fitness and a rather busy tattoo schedule. You know, there isn't a whole lot of fat on the hog in my life, and that fat is going to come into direct play in this vlog. This one, I wanted to talk a bit about fitness stuff here. But first, I'm going to get into my session with Terry here, because that will obviously need to be addressed here. So we got to this big boy here, and there's no pain here now already. It's been about a day and a half since the session, so that's feeling pretty chill now. It actually feels like it might start peeling tomorrow, believe it or not. I wanted to mention while I was here, some of the white spots that we did here in certain spots on my torso, they kind of caked up. I find the white ink tends to be very viscous, and I've found similarly with like yellow ink. Some of the yellow inks are pretty thick as well. Definitely not every ink isn't made the same, and even some black ink is thicker than other black ink, like this Panthera black here. Tends to be quite a bit thicker and goes in a little bit chunkier, harder than dynamic black. But yeah, this was about 4.5 hours, and I was curious during the session. I probably thought the same way when I was doing the white and black versions of these, but since Terry and Rick work so much different pace, I was curious how long this one was going to take for Terry to do. This one had about as much work in it, but it's more like tight groupings and like small mag work. It looks like it's a smaller tentacle, but because you can't get in there with anything but a 7 mag, the whole stretch, everything is like just a little bit different. There's a lot of different tones in there. They all have to be addressed differently. So you really have to take your time, and everything is tight lined, and so it's really hard to get into that, and so that's where the time comes in. Whereas in this one, Terry was able to do quite a bit of it with a 11 mag instead of a 7 mag. Even parts of it were done with a 15 mag. Like, this is a big tentacle, but a lot of it is black, even though there's some blue detailing in the mouth there. Terry was able to get into this with a bigger mags, which mean that you can get through things a little bit quicker. So even though you're saturating more surface space, it tends to go faster. So before getting into my next point here, I'm just going to quickly mention we'll be working on this one next week. This one is the final tentacle we have to do before second passes / touch-ups. And this green here was actually darker greens than the greens we did in this one. So just to give you an idea, this should heal about as bright or brighter than that one. And the green tentacles have tended to be coming out fairly bright. So I have a really optimistic outlook on how this is going to heal up. So yeah, but obviously I'll be showing that off the next session that I have with Rick. Rick and I are going to be working more on the inside / down here. Hopefully we get a little bit more done. In Rick's words, my skin was taken a little worse this time, but I don't know if it was that or if he was just looking for a way to cut the appointment a little early. So I mentioned fitness here, and I wanted to touch on this because it is the case now that I've been topless for a lot of my my tattoo updates lately, because I've been doing, if not my back, now my front. And so I've had my shirt off a lot, and I've had some people commenting things about, oh, we better trim up, bud. You're getting a little doughy in the stomach and stuff like this. And, you know, comments like, oh, yeah, you're sucking in, which is fucking, of course, stupid. But, and obviously, I've been getting hate for a long time, guys. Like, if I had a real problem getting hated on, I wouldn't still be making videos, and I certainly wouldn't be making them topless. But these kinds of comments do kind of irk me, because I've been all over the weight spectrum. I've been thin. If you watch my channel from a few years ago, I weighed between 140 and 150. I was very, very thin, and I stayed really thin for a long time, because when I was young, I lost around 90 pounds in 6 months, and I was actually overweight in the wrong way. I was quite chunky especially for my age. I gained quite a bit of weight. While my son's mother was sick, I was really only paying attention to kind of what was going on with her. She had Crohn's for her whole life. I did a whole video on that, and I've also done a whole video on my weight loss. But I stopped caring about myself quite a bit at that time in my life, and I kind of just didn't care what I looked like. And I sort of realized all at once around the time that my son was born that I had gained quite a bit of weight, and I went to pretty extreme measures that aren't necessarily recommended to lose that weight, right? And I did so in a very short time frame. It was shocking enough that people who seen me after not seeing me for a little while, it was almost like they were seeing a different person. Now, when you weigh 600 pounds, 90 pounds is a big deal, right? When you weigh 240 pounds, 90 pounds is a very big deal. And after the 6 months, I still lost another 10 pounds, even after I stopped trying, because I had supercharged my metabolism or something. I basically starved myself to lose that weight because I wanted it so bad. I didn't want to be that large. And then from there, I stayed pretty fit and thin. I've never really gone without any workout, but I was so afraid of packing on any weight because I never wanted to get so large again that I kept myself very thin. And when you're doing that, it's hard to build muscle, right? So back in 2021, I started really thinking about wanting to get big. Like, I wanted to get in shape. I've been talking about it even then on my YouTube since 2019, and it had been a goal of mine for a long time. But during the blackout work, I was always kind of sore from healing, and sorry. When I stopped doing the blackout and I start doing the third layer. It's a bit less strenuous to heal. It's a bit more, lenient. You're not as beat up as you are with heavy black work. I would often feel sore and tired for days after some of those sessions, right? So getting on to some smaller sessions or just not so much saturation, it was like, oh, okay, well, I can work out a little more often now, right? And a little harder. And so I hunkered down on a diet plan, and I had some fitness influencers who wanted to work with me. I had a friend write up kind of an early meal plan. I haven't stuck with it. I've kind of done my own thing with it. Same idea, just kind of modernized it. And he drew me up a kind of rough guide for a weight routine, and I've modified some of that and added my own things to it. I do 5 sets of 13 weighted 52-pound pull-ups and chin-ups pretty much every day, and I do a stack of incline push-ups, a stack of decline push-ups. On the exercise bike in the morning after breakfast and stuff for about an hour a day, every day. I'm working out pretty much every day to some capacity. And that doesn't even include my weight routine, which I have a whole weight routine as well. So if anything, I probably work out more than I should. So to make a long story short, I've grown a lot in a fairly short amount of time. Now, some of that is going to be fat, right? You're not just going to build muscle. So it's not that I feel the need to justify myself so much as it is when I have people come into my comments and tell me, dude, you should get in better shape. You'd look way better if you were in better shape. Or even they'll go as far as to say, you're fat or you're not doing anything for your body, you're just getting tattooed. It's like, there's probably realistically, there's a lot of people in the world that have worked harder than me on their fitness. I don't think that I'm some golden god. I've never pretended to be a fitness influencer. And that's part of why I'm not doing fitness guides and shit for you guys or getting heavy into my fitness routine. But there's not a whole ton of people out there that have, put as much time and energy into shaping their body as I have. I've invested a lot in that, and I spend a lot of time daily working on it. So when you get comments like that, when realistically, I'm not in bad shape. I'm in decent shape. I could be in better shape, and I will be in better shape. The point is, I'm working pretty fucking hard on it, and comments like that, I don't find them useful for anything. And I don't think it's ever made, those comments are never made by anyone who's actually in decent shape themselves either, right? They usually have the worst physiques when they talk the most shit. Anyone who's actually working on themselves, they don't have time to make those sorts of comments about other people's shape. Even when I was thin, I had that skinny fat love handle look. And so it's like, I don't know. At least I'm trying, A lot of people aren't. And I'm not trying to shame anyone. It's a matter of fact that I've done a lot quick. And I continue to work hard on it. And I'm a little insecure about my weight. I always have been, and I have no problem admitting it. It's part of why I was scared to pack on weight. And of all the comments I get on social media, those are the only ones that have ever really bothered me or in any way, made a dent in me. Because it was for so long I was afraid of gaining that weight. And once you start gaining it, you're always worried you're going to get fat or someone's going to say something like that, right? And the funny thing is in real life, I never hear anything like that. I've never got comments like that. Even when I was legitimately in my own mind overweight in the wrong way, no one ever said anything about my weight. So it is the anonymity of social media. People are always going to say whatever the fuck they want to whoever the fuck they want because there are no consequences, right? So in some way it is more honest, though I won't say it's productive or useful feedback. It is certainly a little more honest because people have no fear of any kind of blowback for whatever they say. But when you're trying to gain muscle, you do gain a little bit of extra weight. You know, it just is what it is. For whatever reason, I've always gained a little bit of weight right here. I get these love handle things. It just is what it is, you know. But the rest of me is in what I consider to be pretty decent shape. Now, obviously, it can be better, but at least I'm working on it and trying to be healthy. That's more than I can say for a lot of people. And I really think that the people who talk shit about other people's weight should just pay more attention to their own physique. Get in better shape yourself, because most of the people that talk shit online are in terrible condition and certainly don't have the right to comment on anyone else's physique. So, and again, I want to lead with this, guys. Like, I'm not shaming anyone or the shape of anyone. It's the exact opposite of that. If you're doing anything to help yourself, hats off to you, because so many people aren't. And it isn't easy for some people. It's harder for some people than others, I do think. I'm not giving anyone an excuse, and I'm not giving myself an excuse. I think the only thing that's important is that people are trying to be in the best shape they can be. Anyway, show this guy off one more time here. So, yeah, I really like how this one has come out. And again, we'll be working on this guy next week. So, and then we'll be on to touch-ups and other projects. So, I'll talk to you guys again here soon. Have a great day.